Today, I want to touch on a pretty important topic, how recruiters actually find candidates. Okay. So, one of the things that I've noticed over these past years is that a lot of job seekers and professionals, they actually think that the only way that they can find work is by applying online. That's actually not the case. What happens is they end up spending many, many hours applying to tons and hundreds of applications online, and then they become frustrated when things don't happen, meaning they don't hear back from the employer. Their applications just go ghost. They don't get any type of feedback at all. And so they get frustrated. Now, what they're missing out on is that about 80% of the jobs are not even found online at all. Okay. This is what we call the hidden job market. These positions are not posted online. What I see happening a lot is that some of the best candidates that I've placed were not even really actively seeking work. They were just sort of, happy where they're at, but not necessarily looking for something else unless it showed up on their doorstep. So, what you need to know is that a lot of recruiters actually find candidates through referrals from their current employees. Okay, so I just want to give you a quick example of this. One of my clients actually knew somebody who was working for a company, and that particular friend recommended his application, his resume, passed it along to his supervisor, who liked what he saw, passed it along to HR, and they actually interviewed my candidate for the job, and he got it. So, that's a classic case of a referral, and also his friend who referred him got a nice little bonus out of it. Okay, so don't sleep on referrals. There's a lot of other ways that you can tap into this. Professional associations, industry events, conferences, and other networking conversations that you have with people. A lot of times this will lead to referrals as well. Sometimes opportunities can show up from totally unexpected places. Here's another example. One of my clients was waiting in a lineup at the airport over Christmas holiday season. And you know how you start talking with people in the lineup in front of you. And she struck up a conversation with a guy who happened to ask her what it was that she did. When she mentioned that she was a junior web developer just finishing her training, he passed her along his business card and he said that somebody would be in touch with her because that's something that he was looking for as well. He was looking to fill that position. She came back from vacation, reached out to him, and had an interview set up with HR. Long story short, she got the job. Okay. So you never know where these conversations could end up starting from. It could be a grocery store lineup, it could be an airport lineup. You just never know. The main thing to recognize is that these hiring conversations, they start long before the company eventually posts the ad. And that's if they even do that. So the reason that this becomes a challenge for job seekers is because historically people have been taught that job searching is primarily done online through things like Indeed, LinkedIn, the Job Bank if you're in Canada, Workopolis, Monster. Like there's so many online job boards out there right now. But that's not the only way that you can get a job. Most people don't realize that the hidden job market is definitely a real thing. This is something that happens behind the scenes, okay? They're underestimating the power of relationship building and putting yourself out there professionally by going to or participating in networking events. A lot of people also make the mistake that networking means talking about jobs, and it's not that, okay? It's really about building genuine relationships, having real conversations, just to, get to know each other better, and if the conversation leads into jobs, then that's even better. You have to use the job boards, obviously, but you also need to remember you cannot neglect relationships that could open doors, okay? So here's what you can do instead. Build relationships before you need them, okay? And especially if you're already working and you're considering, oh, you know what, I'd like to make a change in 6 months, a year, 2 years. Now is the time to start building those relationships with people. Connect with former employees, connect with former coworkers, supervisors, managers, other industry contacts, okay? And also go to networking events. Start going to them. You can participate in webinars, okay? These all have networking opportunities where the conversation can lead to unexpected opportunities. Make your LinkedIn profile searchable by using relevant keywords. And what I mean by that is the keywords should reflect the industry that you're in. I don't want you to just flood your about section on LinkedIn with, 100 different keywords, but be very strategic. And so that's if somebody's from that industry is reading through your about profile on LinkedIn, they know what it is that you're doing. You're speaking the same lingo. Okay. You want to make sure that you're identifying your skills and your accomplishments on your LinkedIn profile as well. Okay. Because we want to see quantifiable achievements as well on your LinkedIn profile. Now, when you're talking to people at these networking events or having these conversations one on one, what I want you to do is let people know about what type of opportunities you're looking for. A lot of jobs come through the conversations and referrals, not necessarily the job boards, as I have been mentioning earlier. But when you do that, there is an art to it, okay? I don't want you to, come right out and ask them for a job. But it is okay to let them know, the reason why you're trying to connect with like-minded people, and, you're expanding your horizons because eventually you want to move into a position as ABC, okay? Your next opportunity will probably come from relationships as opposed to a job posting. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, who is it that you could talk to this week where the conversation could be steered towards your career goals? I hope this video has helped you out. In the meantime, feel free to like, share, follow, subscribe, or put a comment below. Now, I want you to remember that the energy that you put out is so important because the universe has a way of sending that stuff right back to you. So make sure you keep it positive.